Hi, I'm Mark and I'm passionate about English. Okay, so for today's mini lesson on location, I'm actually in my camper van, which I call the Beast, because it's so big, it's huge. I bought it last year and it's been brilliant. And it didn't cost me an arm and a leg. It was actually quite cheap, but it's very reliable. I've been to France, Italy, Greece, and no trouble at all. Okay, before we start the lesson, I'm just gonna stop and then film a little bit the Beast. It's unfortunately I haven't had time to clean it recently, so it's gonna look a bit dirty. But yes, just to give you an idea. And I'll also film a little bit of my road where I live. Obviously, if you're from Europe or America or a Western country, it's probably not so interesting. But maybe if you're from Thailand or China or Korea or somewhere, it's and you've never been out of your country, then maybe it's interesting to see a real street in Britain. Of course, all streets are different though. But to give you a little taste. Okay, so this is the back of the Beast, and as you might be able to notice, there are butterfly stickers on it. These have all been put there by girlfriends. Now that's a bit confusing because they weren't actually my girlfriends. Or sorry, they weren't actually my girlfriends, but they were friends who still are girls. So it's a little bit confusing when you say something like that. But obviously there are a lot of butterflies on the Beast, so I would have had to have had a lot of girlfriends. Okay, you can also say for boyfriend. And but yes, it is kind of confusing to do that. This is one end of my road, and I'll just show you the other end. Again, not very interesting for people who live in Britain or in Europe, but it's just to give you an idea for perhaps if you've never been outside of your country, if it's for example China or Thailand or maybe South America, somewhere that's quite different to Britain anyway, just to give you a little idea. Okay, so just say goodbye to the Beast, and I can also say it was a steal. Now, steal doesn't mean like I didn't pay for it, but it means, in my opinion, I got it for a very good price. So we can say it was a steal. And as I've taught you before, also we can say it didn't cost an arm and a leg. It was cheap, but it's been one of the best things I've ever bought. What's the best thing you've ever bought? Alright, that's it for the Beast. See you in the next bit. Okay, so let me pick out first an idiom for today's mini lesson. Okay, the idiom is good. I've got a lot on my plate. Okay, so I'm sure you know what a plate is, what you may eat your food off. But it has nothing to do with plates. Of course, if you have a lot on your plate, it means many things on there. But the the idiomatic meaning of I've got a lot on my plate means I've got a lot to do. I'm very busy, I've got loads of things to do, and maybe my friend rings me up and says, can I pop round this afternoon? And I say, oh, I can't really, I'm so busy, I've got a lot on my plate today. So that's the meaning of that. It just means you're busy, you've got a lot to do. Very useful idiom. Okay, so let's get a phrasal verb. Okay, this is a very easy one. I think we've mentioned it in lessons before, but not picking it out of the pot. It's to grow up. Okay, so yeah, I could say to you, ask you, where did you grow up? It means when you were young or a child, where did you live, and where did you become become bigger. Of course, maybe you grew up in a few different places, so then you could say, well, I was born in Tokyo, but then I left when I was young and I grew up in Kyoto, for example. Okay, so yes, you've got grow up and grew up. And you could also use this as a little bit of an insult. Maybe you are sort of arguing with your girlfriend, your boyfriend, and they're really getting on your nerves, or they're being a pain in the neck, and you feel they're being a bit immature. So you could say to him or to her, we often say to them, but it actually only means one person, but it saves us saying to him or her. So you could say to them, grow up. Okay, so it means stop being immature. And you could also, there's a famous line from a Prince song, act your age, not your shoe size. Okay, so a shoe size is normally 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, so quite low number. And if you're 18 or 25, then he's saying act your age, act 25, not your shoe size, not the age of 7. Okay, so that's your phrasal verb. I have to lift the microphone and take out a collocation. Come on. Okay, and I need to put that in nicely so it's pointing at me. So the collocation, I'm actually sweating a little bit in here because yeah, it's not a very hot day outside, but it's kind of humid, and I've got all the windows closed to reduce the noise from outside. Okay, so the collocation for today is strongly suggest. So yeah, I just thought of an example off the top of my head. Let's say when I decided to drive through France to Italy and Greece last year in the Beast, somebody could have said to me, I strongly suggest you get your van serviced. Okay, now serviced means just get it checked, maybe change the oil and check the fan belt, check well, of course the tires, but yeah, it just you go to a garage or a mechanic who would check everything. So I strongly suggest you okay, and you could also say I strongly recommend you if you're not saying with you, you could say I strongly suggest avoiding Paris, or I strongly recommend avoiding Paris. So when I drove through France, of course Paris is a big city and lots of roads, so it's better to go around Paris, or as far away as possible. So yes, I strongly suggest avoiding, so we use ing, or I strongly recommend avoiding. If it's with you, I strongly suggest you avoid. I strongly recommend you avoid. No ing there. Okay, that's a typical mistake people make when speaking English. Okay, let's find some jokes. And okay, I picked out some well, they're accidents, but nothing to do with driving accidents. Okay, as I've shown you before, this book is called Man Walks Into a Bar. I'm not sure you'll see that clearly because it's I haven't got any lights on in here. But it's called Man Walks Into a Bar, and many jokes begin with this. So, here we go. A man walked into a bar and went, "Ah!" It was an iron bar. Okay, so because of the joke, most people think a bar where you buy drinks, beer and wine and so on. But the funny thing is, it was an iron bar. So an iron bar is like a something thick made out of iron, sort of like a rod or a pole. So that would be an iron bar. So obviously if he walked into the iron bar, he hurt himself. Okay, another little accident joke. Did you hear about the guy who lost his left arm and left leg in a car accident? he's all right now. Okay, so in a way it's kind of not such a pleasant joke, because it's about somebody who, but of course it's a joke. He lost his left arm and his left leg. But he's still got his right arm and his right leg. So it's saying he's all right now, he's okay, but it's also joking, he's all right. No left. All right, that's your 2 jokes for today. All right, the Beatles question. Okay. What was the first Beatles single that did not involve the subject of love? Okay, so many of the early Beatles songs were about love, going out, boyfriend, girlfriend, and so on. But what was the first Beatles single that did not involve the subject of love? And here's your hum for today. Are you ready? Okay, so that's it for today. Don't forget, if you can name all of the hums in July and answer each question to do with the Beatles, and email me last day of July, you could win the first 3-month course for free. Alright, thanks very much for watching, and hope you learned something, and enjoy your day. Bye.